From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of ParksCenter. My name's Ben, and I will be your host for tonight's show once I can get the audio levels down. There we go. Joining me on tonight's show, I have Jill.
Hello.
Rich.
Hello.
And Tyler. All right, kicking off tonight's show. If I can start this, there we go. We have a little bit of a problem this week, or I should say, the parks had a bit of a problem this week. We had some bad times with our dragon. It is no more. It has ceased to be. It is an ex-dragon. All sorts of toasty on the face there. I mean, normally this is supposed to breathe fire, not catch on fire, just for the record.
When the review of the parade said that the creative team was on fire, I didn't think this is what they meant.
Yeah. Thoughts? I mean,
personally, I love the addition of a flaming Maleficent head to the parade. Like, it adds that sort of ambiance that it was missing before.
I don't think this was intentional.
Oh, well, then this is crazy. I can't believe this actually happened. I mean, it's super weird that they have a fire effect like that in public anyways. Like in an enclosed theater space or like some kind of stunt show or something, it makes sense, but I always found it a little bit sketchy that it was in like an open area where like a kid could run in front of it or something like that. I mean,
yeah, like you're asking for it.
Looking at these pictures makes me so sad. This dragon was so cool.
It was.
First of all. Second of all, this dragon was the parade. Like,
yeah.
The dragon is what most people, if you repeatedly watch the parade, you repeatedly watched it for that dragon. So, not to mention, like, it was the weenie of Daytime Magic Kingdom. Every time you saw pictures on Parks Blog or anywhere, like, there are pictures of this dragon everywhere. It's a huge piece of their marketing for the park. And so now that's gone. What are they going to do? Like, it makes the Disney Daytime Parade seem sad.
Apparently, they're going to use another chapter from the same story and have the Prince and Aurora dance in a gazebo instead of the dragon, based on.
I mean, you know that dancing gazebo scene that's famous from the film, right? Yeah,
obviously. It's famous from just about every other last-minute parade that's ever existed.
It's famous from the other parade that they pulled it from.
Yeah, that.
I mean, I'm not an expert on like the backstage of the parade floats themselves, but they don't have like backups just in case any of them break, right?
Not for that. Oh my gosh, that would cost so much.
Because money, probably not.
Yeah.
Also, because money, there didn't appear to be a safe setting on the dragon. The videos that we saw, the dragon head was still animated while they were trying to use a fire extinguisher, so it would go up and they couldn't reach it, and then it would come down and they'd spray it, and it would go up and they couldn't. It was pretty funny. If it weren't so tragic.
It's ironically the only animatronic that doesn't have a B mode.
Oh, I think this was the B mode. I think that's what we saw. We're getting more
Flaming on fire was the B mode.
Yeah, we're getting more IP in the parks, right? This is a promo for Inside Out right there.
Yeah.
Crossover mashup. So if they bring the dragon back, is it still going to breathe fire? I mean, they turned off Jack Jack in Disneyland as soon as this happened. So it leads me to think that if they do bring the dragon back, or if they steal Paris's dragon, that they won't have it breathe fire anymore.
Which I hear they also turned off, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it is kind of the centerpiece of the parade, even though it's at the end, so to speak.
I mean, you just go to the Magic Kingdom page on Disney.com and that dragon is everywhere. How can they not have that dragon?
And something else, changing topics, that was all over the place in marketing. Mickey talking Town Square Mickey. That is no longer a meet and greet where Mickey is going to be talking to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So let me pull up the story here real quick that we put up on our website for this. We've got a whole video of what he used to do up on the site, and I highly recommend taking a look at this because honestly, it's a really neat meet and greet. Like, would talk to people by name and everything. I'm really disappointed that we're losing this. I'll be honest, I didn't actually get a chance to see this in person, and I'm kind of upset that I never will. So
I've gotten to see it in person. It definitely makes your vacation, and you see kids' faces light up when that happens because with every other character, I guess kids have to understand that like they're not going to talk to you because they're not in a cartoon or whatever excuse parents usually use when the kids ask why the characters aren't talking.
that's a good one.
But this one, like, it was such a special meet and greet, like because it is Mickey's voice. Like, it's not someone trying to do his voice either. But it was an incredible meet and greet. Even like the theming of the little area that you're in, or sometimes he do like a little magic trick with you. I mean, it's not like a real magic trick, but it definitely made people's vacation, including mine, the first time that I saw it. It's a little bit disappointing.
We're not big meet and greet people, so I have to say we never actually met either
Okay.
mute or talking Mickey. But from a guest interaction and guest experience point of view, I almost said user experience. Yeah, this seems like a step backwards, and I wonder why. Is it money, which is the root of many how many many's decision at Disney, or is it just it wasn't working out? It was taking too long. Who knows? It seems like a step backwards.
I'd be willing to believe this is the throughput issue. If you're in a meet and greet where you're actually talking with the character, like you can say things and the character will talk back to you, you're gonna want to be there significantly longer than say in any other normal style of meet and greet for a good reason. You're actually there talking with somebody.
Right.
So I could see them wanting this to be just an efficiency thing so they can have more people see Mickey in a day.
Waits for this were insane.
Yeah,
So
As far as I
with
know,
reason.
definitely a problem. The waits were enormous.
as far as I know, there's only because sometimes with meet and greets, they might separate you down a left or a right hallway. As far as I know, it was only one straight path to meet Mickey. Should I
Yep.
go into more detail what that means, or I don't want to ruin it?
No. I think everybody who knows what that means know what that means. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably why it's just so technologically to do it with a show like Turtle Talk with Crush makes sense because you're doing it every like 20 minutes or however long that show is. But
In front of a lot of people all at once.
yeah, in front of a large group, like a people eater type of show. But with this, it was such a slow time that even fast pass lines.
That's an interesting idea, though. What if they created something similar to a Turtle Talk, but as the Mickey meet and greet, where you bring in 50 or 100 people and just pull up a couple people to interact with Mickey, and that's your attraction?
It'd
So
be
you
great.
mean like some sort of show, like maybe a magic show or something?
Something,
Maybe
but even
like
something
you
like
can
Turtle
reuse
Talk.
the existing space you have, just put a bunch of people in there and
Mhm.
have this work.
Or maybe you could make an attraction where you interacted with Mickey and put it in a empty show building that might be in a park somewhere.
Twisting that knife.
Ben, I thought you were talking about Mickey's magical map when you were like kind of hinting at it in the show, but never mind.
Moving on from there, since you can't talk to Mickey anymore, let's make some people look like Minnie, so you can talk to them. That's what we're gonna do, right? So Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique has been around for a while, but mainly for the younger guests, I believe exclusively for younger guests.
Yeah.
But coming up soon, we're going to be able to have this experience for adults as well. They've shown us, and that what we've got pictured here is the what's the list of styles that they have here.
They have a ton. Like you can do princesses, you can
Yeah.
do,
You can
the
do
Fab Five, you can do Star Wars, you can do villains. Because they're not making you look like the character. They're giving you makeup looks inspired by the character. So
it's
right.
It's themed makeup then, in effect.
correct.
Pretty
Themed
much,
makeup,
yeah.
nails, hair. And they started this in for Galactic Nights, they were doing Star Wars inspired makeup and hair, which the pictures of that were really cool when I saw them. So I think this is fun. I mean, in the grand scheme of because money, and let's put another thing out there that people will spend a lot of money on, this is purely optional, but I think it's up a lot of people's alley and they're going to go do it, and more power to them.
Mm-hmm. Like honestly, I'm really interested in what they're gonna do for this in terms of like they talk about hero and heroine stuff, so they're gonna have options for guys.
Theoretically, I mean, they
I-
basically created a version of Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique for boys with the
Yeah.
the pirate stuff.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that
Mhm.
not every adult male enjoys having their nails done and wearing makeup. So it'd be nice to see what comes in later on for them.
I say we do an entire WDWNT outing to character couture and
Yeah, there we go.
get all of you guys fancy nails. That's what you need in life.
I'm down for that. I would absolutely
Let me tell you, fancy nails are perfect for a theme park. They go so well in a theme park.
Oh goodness.
Mine would have to be stick on.
You do this in Animal Kingdom. It's like, oh, are those press-ons? Are they real? Yeah, they're not a glue.
Very good, very good.
And I like this though. And for as much as when I see the little girls with the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique thing done and they're in their princess, and I know they love it. To me, it's more just insane how much money parents spend on getting their kid made up for the day.
Fair.
But this is kind of, you do this and then you go out and have some drinks at a bar in Disney Springs and you
Ruin the makeup instantly.
ruin the makeup instantly, but you have a good time and it's a conversation piece and you meet people and you talk to them and
And it's so
Fair.
Instagrammable.
that was what I was
There it
you
is.
go in front of the purple wall and you
absolutely
selfie
for
with
the
them.
crowd.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Moving out of the parks into hotels for a moment. The Whispering Canyon Cafe, relatively well-known location for its rambunctious cast members. They've been asked to turn down the volume a little bit, starting to hold true to their name and whispering a bit more. So I'll be honest, we first ran a story about how they were reportedly not going to be doing much more shenanigans of any kind off of this tweet from the official WDW Today channel. Continuously updating our offerings and are currently working on what's next. We apologize for any disappointments.
Oof.
But this later got clarified from WDW Today on Instagram this time. Thank you for reaching out. Whispering Canyon Cafe is still a rootin' tootin' good time for the whole family with plenty of antics, but you will notice that we've asked our cast members to turn down the volume a bit. So what this actually means for the future of the restaurant is still kind of up in the air. Like, are we still going to have the gigantic ketchup screams?
I mean, it's silly, but it's so over the top silly. It's probably entertaining. I've not been to Whispering Canyon, I admit, but if you scale it back, then isn't it kind of like become half-hearted and not nearly as entertaining? So why even do it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
that restaurant is amazing. Like it sounds like it was based on noise complaints from hotel guests. But I want to
Yep.
know, like, is it so loud that you can hear it in the rooms? Or is it like someone in the lobby who chose to sit there and read a book and they're complaining that it's too
I'm
loud?
sure it's the lobby. But here's
Yeah.
the thing. It's a deluxe resort. And while I love Whispering Canyon and I think it's a lot of fun, I understand that there are people who don't. And the people who don't are the people who tend to stay at deluxe resorts. So it's a weird juxtaposition to begin with, that you've got what feels like it should be out by Hoop-de-Doo at Pioneer Hall and Fort Wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it belongs there, but it's inside the lobby of this very grandiose, sophisticated looking deluxe resort. So it is kind of, I feel like it's maybe not the best place for it anyway, but
Yeah.
Along those lines, I have a story of hotel guests who exactly left for that reason. I knew a couple and they were older and they were staying at Wilderness Lodge for the first time. They usually like to stay at Polynesian. They went in, they checked in, they ate at Whispering Canyon. They hated it so much that they promptly marched up to the concierge and demanded to be moved back to the Polynesian without even spending a single night in the Wilderness Lodge because of
Ooh.
the Whispering Canyon. So it does, and that was 15 years ago. So it's not like this is the first time people have complained about it.
I'd agree with the thematic dissonance that it
Yes.
creates. You walk into the lobby and it's somewhat majestic and serene. You have fire crackling, you have very comfy chairs and kind of a awe-inspiring setting. And then down the hall, you have this raucous, rootin' tootin' good time that doesn't seem to match that whole theming. So yeah, maybe
And
maybe that's the root of the problem.
You can hear those shouts echo through the lobby of Wilderness Lodge. It's not,
Yeah.
And they're
it's
not going
not
to build
quiet.
one because money.
Right.
Yeah. I've eaten there I think once, maybe twice. And I'll be honest, my one fond memory of it was I got a milkshake and a fly landed in my milkshake. And I just waiter, there's a fly in my milkshake. And he started coming back like, oh, you're just messing with, get out of here. And I'm like, no, actually, sir, like in the, like right there is this big old fly. And he's like, oh, wow, okay, you weren't kidding. All right, yeah. Goes off and takes that out, brings back a giant milkshake with a lid. Like, we're not letting this happen again.
And how long ago was that?
Oh gosh, that would have been. Oh, I don't even remember how long
I
ago
only
that was.
asked because today there would have been an upcharge for the fly.
Oh, protein
Just
mixed
saying.
in. There
Exactly.
it is.
Rustic theming to your milkshake.
Oh goodness. Let's move on to something a little less rambunctious though. John Lasseter.
That depends on who you ask.
Right?
Fair point. John Lasseter has was put on leave from the Disney company because of allegations centering around the Me Too movement about just under 6 months ago. That 6 month leave is starting to come to a close here, and we're seeing signs that he might be put back in the Disney company, albeit not necessarily at the helm of things or in such a high position as he was. So this is a kind of a sensitive subject, pretty easy to have strong opinions on. So I'm really interested to hear what people here have to say about this.
We're all afraid to start.
Yeah, I
because
think
it's
everybody's
such a
afraid to
Should I
start here.
start? Is it safer
Should
if
we
I
say
start?
ladies
touchy
first? Yeah.
subject.
So here's the thing. We still don't know a whole lot about what happens. I mean,
True.
that's kind of why I struggle with this, because depending on what happened, and we don't even know, is he guilty of something? Was it criminal? Was it workplace misconduct? What was it? So it's hard for me, coming from the female perspective anyway, to say yes, he should come back or no, he shouldn't, because I don't feel like I have enough information to make that kind of judgment. But even if there are some pretty significant signs that something happened, then it's still a matter of what. I don't think there's a I don't feel like there should be a blanket punishment for anyone who is accused of this type of behavior. It's not, okay, you're done, you're out. There's degrees of intensity. There's, all kinds of issues that you need to look at and judge people like we do in our justice system. We judge people based on, intent, on frequency and repetitiveness of a crime. We don't have any of those factors here. So it's hard to say what should or shouldn't happen to this guy. I mean, from the creative side of things, he obviously was a huge part of making Pixar, helping Pixar make the great movies that it made, and it would be a shame to lose that. But again, it's a matter of what happened, and
Yeah.
what do we know and what do we not know, and what's an appropriate thing to do based on all of that.
Yeah, that's really fair. That we are missing a great deal of information at this point, and we certainly don't have any sort of confirmation of any allegations, let alone like what severity the allegations were, as far as I'm aware, at least. Um, Something definitely to keep in mind with all of this is that they are not, as far as I'm aware, currently thinking about putting him back into the exact position he was in. This would be a step back. This would be trying to put him in a position where such things are less likely to even be an issue.
Right.
It's really hard to get away with inappropriately touching people when you're not their manager. And you don't have to fear for getting fired. So I think, assuming nothing particularly terrible has happened, and given the fact that there are no lawsuits occurring, I will fathom a guess that nothing too terrible happened. This seems like a relatively reasonable and level-headed approach to it, especially for somebody who is indeed a very valuable member of the company.
And
Right.
not just
Well,
in Pixar, for Disney Animation and Imagineering as well. Like he had his
Yep.
hand sort of in all three of the companies itself. But from like a PR standpoint, like I think Disney and Pixar and John Lasseter himself, like they all handled it in probably the best way that they could have by
well,
removing himself
they
from.
swept it under the carpet is what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They completely put a lid on this so that it wouldn't blow up. Which from a
And with a
PR
company
perspective
like
was a very good move. Agreed. But I don't know that they handled it well. They handled it in a way that made it go away and get out of the public spotlight
Right.
at a time where this kind of situation is a huge black mark on a company or an individual.
I worded that incorrectly, but yeah, because we haven't heard anything because he removed himself from the situation before it escalated too much, and because of that, that's why we haven't heard of anything. And there's probably stuff that's happened that we will never hear about either.
But I think if they want to do this in a way that will not cause a lot of stir, they need to make some kind of statement if they bring him back, so that
Agreed.
people understand what happened, and because people are. And I will probably do this to an extent too. I will snap to some judgments about what their motivation is for bringing him back if they don't make clear statements and tell people why it happened and what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Openness is definitely something that we need here with us. Changing topics to something a little more lighthearted, thankfully. So the Diamond Horseshoe doesn't have the best food, from what I've heard. Nor does the Disney Parks blog have the best track record about dates. The Diamond Horseshoe at Magic Kingdom did not debut a new menu on Wednesday, May 16th. We went, we checked, it wasn't there. This was posted originally from the Disney Parks blog, and that post, if I'm not mistaken, still is up. And whoops, looks like the cowpokes got a little excited about the new fixings. The menu will debut on May 23rd.
That's fabulous.
So tune in next week for our full review, but
Look,
we do have some pictures of what's going to be coming in about a week.
Much like Whispering Canyon, Diamond Horseshoe is now also described with the words rootin' tootin'.
I think that's just their catch-all at this point.
For anything like pokey and western.
Almost makes you think Rootin' Tootin' must be an IP that they own now somewhere.
They gotta bring Lasseter back so they can make Rootin' Tootin' the Pixar movie.
Oh goodness.
We're gonna hear at Woody's Lunchbox soon as well.
Yeah, there we go.
So, well, once again, the pictures look pretty, but who knows how it'll actually taste. I presume, given where the Diamond Horseshoe is, they're sharing kitchen facilities with would it be Liberty Tree Tavern that's around the corner there? So that kitchen can do good things.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I've had a pretty bad track record with Disney macaroni and cheese, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, ignoring that, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I'm really interested then, given how bad their mac and cheese is, how this mac and cheese like pulled pork sandwich is going to be, because that sounds great. but
It adds this kind of weird, slippery, creamy texture to the pulled pork.
yeah.
I'm not one for
And
mac and cheese on
closing things out with the feed, let's talk briefly about some of the other food related news stories that have come out this week. I'm going to kick things off with what I think is probably one of the best stories of this week. So the
Yes.
Aztecan hot dog from Casey's Corner.
Montezuma's Revenge.
All beef hot dog with sweet and spicy ground beef. Oh no. With a creamy elote mixed with spicy lime mayonnaise and grated Parmesan, served with French fries or apple slices.
Who told the person that invented this that Parmesan cheese is Mexican? Because I don't
Yeah, I
quite.
don't know.
It all
Also, this
kind
is
of
grated,
makes
not
sense.
shredded.
Yes, it all makes sense until you get to the Parmesan cheese, and then I'm
Well,
like, where did that come from?
Except, of course, for the hot dog that you start with.
Well, yeah,
You know.
fair enough.
Proof that this hot dog was indeed having bites taken from it.
Poor Jose.
but not finished.
Oh, I think it was finished.
I love the end of the article. Godspeed.
Godspeed. You find yourself willing to subject your digestive system to this monstrosity.
I like the bands of
This thing tears you apart. From
From
what
the
I've
inside out.
it is not exactly something you want to put inside of you.
No, I mean, some of the individual pieces, a hot dog, a lovely, relish, and Parmesan cheese. Yeah, no problem. But I'm not sure about putting them all together on a bun.
This to me is just one more reason to not go anywhere near Casey's Corner ever.
Like, just don't really go for hot dogs at Disney. Seriously, you've got so many better options. Just don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, my bad experience with mac and cheese was a hot dog with just mac and cheese on top of it. And that was not a particularly good experience.
That was bad enough.
Yeah, not only was the hot dog not the best, but neither was the mac and cheese. And then eating those two things together, and I don't understand the fascination with taking a particular form of meat and using a separate other type of similar meat on top of that as well. Like the pulled beef, it's not even like pulled pork or something. It's pulled beef, right? It's just.
I think it's like ground beef.
Yeah, that is ground beef on that thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's even less appetizing. The image of that just, nope.
Yeah, it just excess ground beef everywhere.
It's like, let's see what random stuff we have in the pantry and just throw it all on a hot dog and call it something weird and ancient sounding like Aztecan. And there we go, we're done.
And talk about the name, like
right?
that
what
doesn't.
Does any of this have to do with the Aztec Empire? Any of it?
Look at Casey's Corner,
right?
My son was. I was going to explain this to my son, but one of his games actually uses Tekkens, and so is this like a gaming hot dog? And Tekken, no.
Oh, and then really quickly before we run out of time, I just want to share some of the wonderful, wonderful puns that we've got from Flo's V8 Cafe getting a bit of a remake on their menu. So it was starting off relatively simple with the cheeseburger. Ramon's Low and Slow Club.
Love that.
The Fantastic Tuna Sandwich. Oh my goodness. Flo's famous fried chicken. Sure, that's the fare. Cobb Javille salad.
So good.
Loving that one.
It looks really good too. I kind of want
that.
And then
the next
Fillmore's
this
hot
one.
pie. I quit. That's it. I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Is this medicinal?
Oh. That's it. We're done. Thank you, folks, for joining us for ParksCenter.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's take a look here what we've got coming up. So I know coming up right after us tonight is the hub, or around the hub, I should say.
It may not be based on the latest information in our messaging in our corporate message center.
What's this?
We're not having hub.
It'll be on the 30th.
Oh, my apologies. All right. Well, I didn't read that. Thank you for updating me, panelists.
It's our pleasure.
So never mind about that. I guess that means we're going to be doing a little bit of a post show here for everyone to see. Normally we do post shows exclusively for Wigs members, but tonight, since Hub got canceled, we'll give you all a little bit of something to stick around for and hang out for. So thank you for joining us for that. Also, I just want to mention we've got a supersized episode of Ride Rehab coming up on June 7th with Taylor, who was on here tonight,
My name's Tyler.
covering
But
Hollywood
Taylor?
Studios. Did I?
who? Where's
Tyler. I'm good at this. It's been a long night, folks. I'm sorry. Thank you for joining us through this whole thing. My name's Ben. Hopefully, I'll see you all again next week if I haven't been canceled.